welcome back to Bible class. And Back? As in 2 weeks ago, there was Bible class. There wasn't any last week because the Bible class were doing a fantastic job with the readings. Thank you so much for that. You made it so easy to edit because you sent all the readings in so early. Thank you for those that could. I appreciate those that maybe they didn't have the time for or other reasons, but thank you for that. And it was actually, just to give credit where credit's due, it was Catherine who edited it together. So if
you'll be in trouble now.
Well, if any of you out there want to do a wee bit of editing for any of the things, you're very welcome to, because it's something I've learnt on the job, so you can too. Editing. I've done audio editing for podcasts for years, and that is a lot easier than...
So why is it different with a picture?
Because you're not just worried about the audio, you're worried about the look of the thing. How you look. And it's matching up audio and picture and things like that. And you have people who have maybe a window behind them when they're recording, or they look at the screen instead of looking at the camera, or they stop halfway through a sentence.
Can I tell them about my post?
You tell them about
on how we look.
Okay.
Today's post. I bought a special comb because my hair's really thick at the back, and I'm not going to let any of you loose on it with a pair of scissors at the back. So I bought this comb that thins your hair. Now every time I pull it, and I've had a go at it, and I sort of pulled a lot of hairs out. So nobody wants me to go near them with my thinning comb. Anybody wants their hair thin, I'll have a go on you.
The good thing is hair grows back most of the time. Sorry, that was a cruel laughter. Right, how's our week been?
Not bad. I'm tired today.
Yeah. We're recording this on Friday.
This is Friday.
Thursday was...
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday. Thank you. I think they've worked that out.
You're welcome.
Was not only my birthday, but Catherine's birthday. So
double lockdown
happy birthday, Catherine.
Aww.
Tonight is the quiz. Tomorrow we have booked a space in the Downhill National Trust. So you can book a space so they know there's not too many people there. And... then Sunday is Father's Day. Today's Father's Day. Hopefully you gave your father something nice. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget about that. Some things are important. Let's not forget. And then on Tuesday...
we're Zooming again.
We're Zooming. We're going to have a Bible class Zoom again. I've no idea what we're going to do. Haven't thought that far ahead.
Okay. That's good. There will be Zooms every fortnight over the summer holidays. I was thinking Christmas, but no. Summer holidays, we Zoom every other Tuesday night. So we will send you by email the link, the special password that you need to get in. You need a different one for every Zoom.
Yes, you do.
Most of you have got the hang of it. But
if you have been on the Zoom before, we will automatically send you the password.
They'll automatically
You'll automatically get, which is pretty dangerous because we don't know if you're going to turn up or not then. But if you would like to join us, if you're a Bible class person, you would like to join us and you haven't yet, you're very welcome to do so. It's a wee bit of fun for about 40 minutes and we just catch up. We play a game. We're going to play. And we go on. Monopoly. That takes more than 40 minutes. Anyway, also over the summer, from now until September, we're going to do a series on... We did a series on Ten Commandments, then we did a series on 1 Peter, and that's a series on questions. So if you've got a question, send it in to us, something about the Bible or about Christianity. We will try our best to answer it through the Bible, through using the Bible. And we also have a list of questions ourselves we think are relevant, and we thought we'd go... Well, we didn't think we'd go light the first one. We went heavy. So
heavy.
Heavy.
So this week's question is drum roll. No.
Oh yeah, if you want to, yeah.
Okay. Do Black Lives Matter?
Black Lives Matter has been in the news lately because a man, George Floyd, died in police custody on the 25th of May this year in Minneapolis in the USA. This was videoed by a passerby. The claim being that the police officers treated him differently because he was black.
But this is not where the term Black Lives Matter comes from. I thought it was. I thought this was a new thing. I thought this was a hashtag or a new concept, but apparently not.
Black Lives Matter is an organisation since 2013 where 2 teenage boys were killed by police in the USA in 2 separate instances. Black Lives Matter is about how black people in America seem to be treated unfairly by the police and the courts.
So, do Black Lives Matter? Yes.
Of course.
That's that question.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, next.
No, so I'm going to read from Genesis chapter 1. I'm going to look it up. I like looking them up.
That's okay.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 26.
So we're not going to have specific verses for a lot of these questions. And today's is going to be jumping throughout the Bible. So see if you can get to the verse before Julie can.
Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and over all the creatures that move along the ground."
So the idea of that verse is that we're created in God's image. All of us, all humans. The USA has had quite a troubled past with racial segregation.
Oh, 2 big words. What's that?
Racial is about different races of people. We're all the human race, but you think about people that originally come from different areas of the world.
Okay.
And segregation is a separation of people because of, well, the Nazis did it with Jews during the Second World War. South Africa separated into black, coloured and white
Belfast
people.
did it?
Belfast did it, where we have what's lovingly called peace walls, and there have been more peace walls go up since the Good Friday Agreement than before. So. Okay.
One of my favourite movies is called Hidden Figures. It's about NASA, and it's about Mars. So what's not to like? It's about NASA and Mars. And there's a scene in it where a black woman, there's 3 black women, I think, have got jobs. 3 mathematicians in NASA.
What year is this set? You don't know, do you? I say sure. Mars, but no history.
Mars, but no, I don't like history.
This is the mid to late 60s.
Okay. So there's a scene in it where one black woman, it shows you her running through the rain back to her workplace from another building. And she comes in the door and she's absolutely drenched. It's a real downpour, a real thunderstorm. And her boss asks her where she goes each day for 40 minutes. And she tells them she goes to the bathroom. Because in her building, there's no toilets for black or coloured women, so she has to go to another building. Her boss goes over to this building, pulls down the coloured woman toilet sign, and says that the toilets are for women, whether black or white. He says, and this is a quote from the movie, "Here at NASA, we all pee the same colour."
Which is very true.
I like that movie.
Yeah, it's good. There's other things. Some of you are quite aware of Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks in the 1955 refused to stand up on the bus. Racial segregation was throughout the United States. This is 10 years before the NASA one. The civil rights movement was kick-started by Rosa Parks, who refused to stand up from a seat in the bus she was on because the bus was crowded, and the law on that bus was if a black or coloured person was sitting and a white person was standing, the black or coloured person had to stand up and give their seat. Rosa Parks refused. This led to a boycott for about a year of that bus company, and for many around that time, education was separate, and when the law changed, where anybody could go to any school, a lot of the schools just closed because they didn't want black children mixing with their white children, even leading to a stage where the army escorted black college students into the school, and it lasted for over a year until the school was closed down to stop it happening. And just so how endemic this is, how much this is throughout American society at one point. And it's amazing how far they've come in the past 60-odd years.
Can I talk about the news?
Oh, yes, indeed.
So it's not just in the 50s and it's not just in the 60s, but it's in 2020. 2020?
We're still 2020.
2020. I read on the news yesterday that a black man in the south of England, a minister, had applied for a job in a church and had been turned down because they said he didn't match the congregation. Sort of, it was basically that. So he was a black man applying for a job in a white church, and he was turned down. So it's not just in the 50s, it's not just in the 60s, it's bang up to date, and it's in the UK.
And it's in Northern Ireland. Because it is.
So how can we respond to these things happening around the world from a biblical standpoint?
Well, we have a list of 3 things. Number 1.
Following on from Peter.
First of all, examine your heart on how we treat others. And it's not just about skin colour. It's about people of a different religion. And I grew up in a time when that was important. People of a different age. How do you treat people who are younger or older than you? People of a different gender. One thing I detest, especially in work, are the young men talking about women in a quite a frivolous way, a disgusting way. At a time we have to watch our own attitude and examine our own hearts.
What I found was really good last Sunday evening is that we did a Zoom for the Sunday school and Bible class families. And it was lovely. It was lovely to see them all, even though it was very noisy and I thought it was very chaotic, to see them all there. But I was really heartened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That so many of the Bible class came on, even though you didn't have Sunday school children in your family, even though you didn't make the Daniels and the Lions, you just came on to say hello. And those Sunday school kids will remember that. They'll remember that lockdown Children's Day, and they'll remember the Bible class coming on just to see, even if you were just nosy, just to see and encourage them. So it's about people of a different age and treating them with respect and all that sort of stuff. Right, Acts chapter 10.
So Acts chapter 10, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts. Acts chapter 10, verse 34 to 35. Can you get there before Julie?
I picked this verse because I found this verse and I read it the other day. Okay, Acts chapter 10, verse 34. So this is after Jesus had died and the disciples are going around telling people all about him. After Jesus had died and risen again. Then Peter began to speak. I now realize how true it is that God does not show favoritism, but accepts men from every nation who fear him and do what is right.
Okay.
So God doesn't show any favoritism to our skin colour or age or religion, whatever. He accepts people from every nation, wherever.
And Jesus himself tells us to do the same. If you think about the Great Commandment, let's go Mark 12, because it's throughout the Gospels. So Matthew, Mark 12, verse 30 to 31. This is a great commandment. You'll know it.
Can I read it?
Yes.
Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. The second is this, love your neighbour as yourself.
Love your neighbour as yourself.
Not just your next door neighbour.
Not just your next door neighbour. Who is your neighbour? There's a whole story about that. That's about the Good Samaritan. Ends up, who is your neighbour? It's the one who needs help from me. It's the one who needs help. Anyone at all is your neighbour. People you live with, the people you walk down the street, the people you're in school with. That's who it is. Okay, right. So that was one. That was examine your heart. Know your intentions.
How you treat others.
How you treat others. Second one. Stand
up for people. Don't be afraid. Say if you think a joke is wrong or a story is against someone or the gossip that's going around the school or online is wrong or bad. Say something to stop it, especially more online nowadays. We're not at school, you're not at school, meeting all these people, so it's all on Snapchat and Instagram, and I've been told older people do Facebook, not children. So it's all online, but say if you think a joke is wrong, or a story is bad.
Okay, 2 verses about this. Psalm 82.
I feel like I'm in a race.
Psalm 82, right in the middle of the Bible. Psalm 82, verse 3. What is it?
Defend the cause of the weak and fatherless. Maintain the rights of the poor and oppressed.
Okay, defend the weak and the fatherless. Uphold, maintain the rights of the poor and oppressed. Not about, ignoring it. Not about joining in when about the oppressors, but to defend people, uphold the rights, maintain. Next one is Proverbs 31, verse 8.
Right, that's
Proverbs is just after Psalms. I got that wrong yesterday when we were looking this up. I said before the Psalms, but it's after. Proverbs 31, verse 8.
Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute.
So not just defending, but speaking up for those that cannot speak for themselves, those that are maybe too scared to speak up for themselves. So the first point was examine your hearts and how we treat others. Second one was standing up for people. And the third one was care for people. We need to look after each other in a society. Look out for those ones who are weak, those ones who are in trouble. Proverbs 14, sticking that Proverbs 14 verse 21 says,
He who despises his neighbour sins, but blessed is he who is kind to the needy.
Being kind to the needy.
There's a lot in the Bible about being kind, Being kind is a thing now, but it's in the Bible.
Yeah, it's been there for quite a while.
Yeah.
A kindness to people. Being kind costs nothing. Well, sometimes it can cost. It can cost a reputation. It can cost you friends who don't want to be kind. But we're told by God to be kind to those who are needy. And in the same chapter of Proverbs 14, verse 31, that was 21, this is 31.
He who oppresses the poor shows contempt for their maker, but whoever is kind to the needy honours God. So
there's results in being contempt for, what's another word for contempt?
No. That's not
like a horse.
Looking down your nose at
Looking down your nose, or...
I'm better than you.
Yes, I'm better than you.
You didn't want that sound.
If you oppress people, you're showing contempt for God. But if you're kind to the needy, you honour God and all that.
This verse, when I read this recently, it reminded me of the food bank.
Okay.
Whoever is kind to the needy. So Bushvale people have been very kind to the needy people in the food bank. So that is a way of honouring God. Absolutely.
And it is not just standing up and standing in front of people when there are bricks flying. It's also about how we treat people when no one else is looking. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Last week, just to finish off this, last week on the radio, the moderator of the Presbyterian Church in Ireland, the Right Reverend David Bruce, I remember him when he was just David Bruce.
How, do you become a Right Reverend when you're moderator?
When you're moderator, you're Right Reverend, and when you leave your moderatorialship, when you stop being moderator, you're a Very Reverend.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you did. See, there's, it's like the stages of a caterpillar.
The Right Reverend Kenneth Crowe.
Yes, he's a right.
Sorry,
Reverend.
Right,
anyway,
Reverend David Bruce.
Right, Reverend David Bruce. He was on the radio last week, and he talked about this. He said that he had to examine his own heart. And when the sin of racism is uncovered, the only legitimate thing to do as a Christian is to bow before God and repent. And that's the head of our church saying that's what we should be doing. We should be looking for that sin in our hearts and bowing before God and repenting of any sin. Repent. My dad talked about this, and I've said my dad talked about this many times. He was a head teacher, and he had a child who said, who was caught doing something. Mr. Adams, I'm sorry. How sorry are you? I'm very sorry. I wanted you to be more sorry than that. I'm very, very sorry. More than sorry. I'm hugely sorry. And eventually the boy said, I don't know how to be any more sorry. And my dad went, be sorry enough not to do it again. And that's what repenting is. Actually means to turn around, turn away from the sin you were doing.
Okay, so we all have to examine our own hearts for any hate and turn from it. Matthew chapter 5, verse 21 and 22.
So Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, Matthew chapter 5. And this is in the middle of, this is at the beginning of the Sermon on the Mount.
So if you're having trouble finding the verses, you can pause us while you find the verses.
Yes, that's okay.
As long as you press play again. Matthew chapter 5, verse 21. You have heard that it was said to the people long ago, do not murder, and anyone who murders will be subject to judgment. But I tell you that anyone who is angry with his brother will be subject to judgment. Again, anyone who says to his brother, Raka, is answerable to the Sanhedrin. But anyone who says, you fool, will be in danger of the fire of hell.
Okay, and that's about when we do find hate in our heart. It isn't just do not murder. It's do not have, Jesus brought in, do not have murder in your heart.
It says in my Bible, this word Raka is an Aramaic term of contempt. So
oh, yes.
Looking down your nose again.
It's a bad word. Don't call people word. Raka.
No. Okay.
Raka.
Last verse?
The last verse, 1 John 3, verse 18. This verse is about our intent. It's very easy to have good words about doing something. It's very easy to care for someone with just our words. I hope you are well. But 1 John 3, verse 18 says this.
This is a good verse to remember.
Oh, very good verse. This is one to underline.
Yep. Dear children, let us not love with words or tongue, but with actions and in truth.
With actions and with truth. And that's what all this is. Instead of saying good things about people, let's do good things.
No matter what their skin colour.
No matter what their skin colour, or their gender.
Or their religion, or their gender.
Let's pray. Dear God and Father, thank you for the Bible, that we can use it as a way of knowing you, that we can learn more about you. But also, Lord, help us with our attitude. Help us to examine our own hearts, to stand up for those that cannot stand up for themselves, and to care for those as we go along in our life. Help us not to be the ones who discourage, but the ones who encourage. And help us not just to have words, but to have actions as well, in showing our love for you and our love for our neighbours. Amen. Okay, thank you very much. If you've got any questions, send them in to us, either on the Facebook page or a direct message to us or something, and we'll try and look at them over the next few weeks. It's important to ask questions.
And get answers.
If there are any. And we will do our best to research and look for answers using the Bible and not just using our own wit and wisdom.
You've got wit and wisdom?
Well, one of us is wit, one of us is wisdom.
I'm the witty one. No, I want to be wise as well. Okay.
We're weird and wonderful. I'll let you decide who's who.
You can have the first one. Okay, right.
So that's it. And stick around for the morning service. And we will see you on... Oh, don't forget about the Zoom on Tuesday night.
7:30.
7:30?
I think so.
7:30.
Or is it 7?
7:30. I don't know.
What time do we usually do? We usually do 7.
Do we?
I think so.
Okay, 7 o'clock.
Because they go to bed early.
Some of them are just up in time for it.
Yeah, probably.
7 o'clock on Tuesday night, and we will see you there. Bye.
Bye.